Hey, you guys. So I was reading in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6. I'm in 8 right now. But God was showing in his word how he had to humble his people. And it took 40 years for God to humble the Israelites, which, some of them didn't get to make it to the promise because they refused to be humble. And so God was showing that he said, I had to show you how you act when you were hungry. So I had to cause you to be hungry. I allowed you to be hungry to show you how you act when you're hungry. I had to show you how you act when you were anxious when I said I was going to do something for you. I had to show you your unbelief when you didn't believe what I said I was going to do. I had to show, excuse me, y'all, it's a bug. He said, I had to show you how you acted when you didn't believe. God is basically putting a mirror up to our face and showing us how we act, showing us what he sees in us is what he's doing, showing us what he sees in us and how we act in certain situations that we go through in life. And he's saying, I had to humble you first. I had to show you what was in your heart. Because God is looking in our heart. And he's saying, I had to show you what was in your heart. I had to show you how you acted when you were anxious. I had to show you that when I said that I will take care of all your needs, I had to show you how you didn't believe. I had to show you who you were before you came to me. When you were that drunk, when you were that drug addict, when you were that fornicator, when you were a person who didn't want to listen to me. You were messing with married men, messing with married women. When I had to show you how you acted. And when you were sad, when you were down. And I think about the times when I was down and out and God told me I would have my head down. I walk with my head down. And God told me one day, lift your head up. Don't hold your head down. Don't let people see how you feel, even when you're going through. It's a test and trial. And God said, hold your head up. He said, I had to show you how you look. God has to teach us all these things so that, where he's humbling us and when it's he's showing us his power and his strength. But he has to show us. I had to show you when you took no accountability. Because he wants us to take accountability. He wants us to see how we look to him when we don't trust him, when we're anxious and God gives us a word or a promise and we get anxious and then all of a sudden you don't believe God because he hadn't come when you want him to. And God says, well, I work in seasons. But when he say, I'm going to take care of every need for you, even though he does work in seasons. But God says, I have to show you. I had to humble you. And this is what he had to show Israel when they were in the desert. Because he would tell them, I only want you to get this much manna. Because many of us are greedy. And God will say, he'll bless you to go in and get what you need out of the store. But many of you will go over above and get way more, not thinking that the person behind you might have just enough money for what you're buying, and you wipe the whole shelf out. And God said, I got to humble you from that greed. I got to humble you. So they spent a lot of time being taught by God, being humbled by God. God had to humble them and show them who they were and what they looked like in his eyes. So he spends time humbling us and showing us how we look in his eyesight in order to bless us. But we got to be humble. We have to be shown how we look when we're in need, when we're hungry, when we don't have, and when we don't trust him, because he works in seasons. And so he has to show us that in season, that's when I bless you. Not when you want it, but when you're in trouble, I'm going to take care of you. I'll make sure you have all that you need. But how are you going to act in between time when you're learning, when he's showing you? He wants us to have accountability. And this is what he's teaching. When we're hungry, when we're in need, But they had to be humble for 40 years. And so this is what he's showing us today. I know many of people are going through, but God has to humble us because many of his people are greedy. Many of you don't save for the poor, even though you could clean it out and get everything. But God says, like he told Israel, I want you to only get a certain amount of manna. I don't want you getting over and above, but get this much. And those that got a little manna had more and you had left over. And those that didn't listen didn't have any left over. So he has to humble us because his people don't want to listen and you don't want to believe. So I just wanted to give you a word today. Whatever you might be going through, that this might help you, that God has to humble you. Y'all have a blessed day.